Yes, indeed, folks. The sounds of Scar Symmetry and the sounds of Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Now, I heard that a couple of people have been noticing some slight crackling on the microphone. I believe that now has been resolved. If it hasn't, then by all means let me know. It's actually a result of the software we use to connect, and this is a little tip for you, those of you who want to try and do a podcast with people who are not in the same room as you. It's a program called Virtual Audio Cables. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it. And it basically allows you to pipe various audio inputs into a single feed, which means you can pipe Skype and your voice into the same feed without the guys on the other end of Skype hearing a crazy echo back. It's very, very good. Unfortunately, it is quite CPU intensive, and if you don't set it up right with a proper buffer MS, amount of buffers, etc., and processor priority, it can end up crackling a little bit. Now, I'm hoping that that has resolved the issue somewhat, so we shall see. Now, I have a confession to make. This may shock some of you. For the first time today, and I've never done this before, for the first time today, I purchased virtual currency. Shock! Horror! Shoot him down! But it wasn't for WoW. Now, you will know my stance on virtual currency and WoW and gold selling and how absolutely 110% I've been against it. However, there is another game that I now play by the name of EVE Online. Now, EVE Online, for a long time, has had currency purchasing as an official integrated part of the game. Basically, what you can do is you can buy a 60-day time card, an official 60-day time card, and in-game, there is a button that says Convert to Plex. Now, Convert to Plex. Plex is the, I believe it's Pilot's License Extension. And what it allows you to do is effectively buy, with in-game money, which is, of course, called ISK, a 30-day time card, which will be applied to your account. So basically, if you play the game really, really well, and have a lot of money, you don't actually have to pay to play. But it also works the other way around. If, say, you want a quick cash injection in-game or whatever, you can buy a 60-day time card using your own money and convert it into plexes. And you can then sell them or perhaps gift them to other players who might have a use for them, say friends or family. Now, I find this a rather interesting system. What I'd like to do over the next 13 or so minutes is to delve deep into the issue of buying virtual currency. Compare the utter no. That's probably the best phrase I can come up with at this point. The absolute no way in WoW to the, yes, you can do this in an official capacity, but we're going to ban you if you try to sell ISK in any other way that EVE works. And perhaps maybe there can be some comparisons and conclusions derived from that. Now, let's have a look first at WoW. There is no way to officially purchase gold in WoW. Not even, not a chance, no. And what you will find, and you have no doubt been irritated by this before, is the fact that the people who sell gold in-game tend to do so in an incredibly annoying manner and get banned almost instantaneously. They spam. Gold spam is annoying. Nobody likes gold spam. I can't imagine, at any rate. And if you do, then you're kind of a weird and twisted individual. Blizzard has gone to great lengths to stop you from doing this, and will ban you if they find out that you have been buying gold. Now, EVE does exactly the same thing. The company that runs EVE is called CCP. They ban for buying gold from third parties. It's called ISK in the game, that's the currency. They also ban for spamming ISK. If you spam, you get banned. Simple as that. And they've put in numerous methods to stop that from happening, including the ability to transfer money off a trial account. So, basically selling ISK in EVE is a very expensive hobby, especially if you're going to get your account banned. You simply cannot send gold on a trial account to another player in any way, shape, or form. You can't do it. However, it's kind of a paradox because they allow this legitimate form of currency purchase. Now, I find that rather interesting because it also combines with the fact that EVE has a big thing on. It's known as a very hardcore game, and yet they've tried to market it. And I'm looking on, if I see if I can find the back of the box here. As I did actually purchase the EVE Special Edition box today just because I felt like it. Where'd I put it? Ah, there we are. Yes. I believe it's on the back of the box here. Yes, here we go. Real-time skill training and no class restrictions. Skill gain progresses whether the player is logged in or not, offering a much more level playing field for time-limited and casual gamers. Build a character tailored to your playstyle from a list of over 300 skills, blah blah blah. Now, it does make me wonder if the purchase of ISK was designed specifically with that kind of idea in mind. EVE is a very hardcore game with very serious consequences if you screw up and die in the wrong place. Basically, if you get blown up, your ship is gone. That's it. And while you can insure your ship, it's costly to do so, and you lose every module that was attached to it. All your guns, all your thrusters, all that stuff. So you're gonna lose out. For instance, we went on a little PvP adventure led by Slanik. Bad idea. Really bad idea. And ended up leading ourselves into 0-0 space, at which point our fleet was destroyed in roughly about 7.5 seconds. And I lost, let's see, a Omen Cruiser, which is a kind of run-of-the-mill kind of ship, but it costs about 4.5 million ISK. And I also lost all the modules on it, which was about another 3 million ISK. And while I got the money for the ship back, I didn't get money for the modules. So I lost about, 3 million. Now, that makes the game incredibly hardcore, plus the learning curve is basically like a cliff face, and good luck scaling it. Admittedly, it has got a bit better lately. So it makes me wonder, do they allow this simply so that the casual player, the player that doesn't have a lot of time to play, is not restricted in what he can do simply because he doesn't have enough time to earn money? Now, money is earned by farming, it's earned by killing NPC rats, as they're called, it's earned by mining, it's earned by doing missions. All of these are time-consuming. It's difficult, although not impossible, to generate money by not doing anything, but it can be done. So, if we apply that logic to WoW, bearing in mind WoW is a very casual game from the get-go, would it therefore be valid, using that particular logic, to allow an official service to purchase gold? Interesting question. Bear in mind, while this topic goes on, I'll be taking your emails on this particular topic, and if you have bought gold, then I would invite you to contribute to the show, anonymously. Admittedly, don't admit who you are, and certainly, by all means, send it from a fake email address. Send it to me, themurloc@gmail.com. I'd like to hear from you if you've bought gold. I'd like to hear your reasons and your rationale behind it. And if you have any opinions on gold buying, gold selling in any form, then please, by all means, email themurloc@gmail.com. I'll be taking those emails and reading them out throughout the show. Also, if you're a podcast listener, I will be revisiting this topic on next week's show, so you can contribute too. But yes, feel free. Your emails will be in the strictest confidence. Now, perhaps it's because WoW is such a casual game from the get-go that gold buying is not required. For instance, what are you going to buy with it? EVE has an element of loss. Yeah, you're always going to need gold in EVE because even though it's really, it's really hard to get like the biggest ship. Bear in mind, like the biggest ship in the game is called a Titan, and if you were to use Plex codes, game cards, to buy all of the money you'd need to get this Titan, yeah, this Titan would be worth, in real game terms, $6,500. Now, bear in mind, this ship can get blown up. This ship can be destroyed by other players. And indeed has happened. These Titan ships get blown up all the time. They're fearsome, but they can be destroyed. So basically you're just like, wow, that was $6,500 worth of currency down the drain. Good lord. It's pretty crazy, if you think about it. So, perhaps because you can't really lose anything in WoW, you don't need to buy gold, surely. I mean, it's not like your 27,000 gold mammoth mount could suddenly be taken away from you. Once you've got it, you got it. Indeed, aside from repair bills, there is a very finite use for gold. Very finite. Compared to EVE. And compared to indeed other games. There are not all that many gold sinks. A lot of the stuff is not required by any stretch of the imagination. And once you've got it, you've got it. There's not a lot of variety in what you can sink gold into. Whereas in, say, EVE, you could own, like, as many ships as you wanted. You can build an entire space station, all this kind of stuff. Assuming you have the power to do so. So there's always a use for money. Now, another thing you have to look at, particularly with EVE, is that EVE is based around a dynamic player-run economy, whereas WoW is based around a more static, money-sink-based economy. Yes, there are ways that you can make money in WoW that involve interacting with other players. There's plenty of ways to do it. However, there are also ways to get preset amounts of money very quickly on a day-to-day basis. Now, EVE has that as well, but everything that you buy in EVE comes from another player, whereas stuff that you buy in WoW, not necessarily so. You can't say kill an NPC. It's like, oh, I found a battle cruiser. It doesn't really work that way. You have to buy a battle cruiser, which has been built by another player using resources that he too either gathered or purchased from another player. Literally everything's crafted. That's the way that it works. And this dynamic economy shifts and changes. So much so that they have to have an economist actually monitor the game. And indeed, right now, there's a situation in game where one of the most common minerals, which is called Veldspar, which is used to make, I believe, tritanium. And this tritanium, for some inexplicable reason, has gone through the roof in price, and farming Veldspar is very, very profitable. However, of course, this is not going to stay for very long. Eventually, this is going to end. I.e., the market's going to get flooded and the price goes down. It was the same with these Plex codes that you could purchase with the game cards. Some Russian guy spent like $100,000 on Plexes and crashed the entire market because he wanted to buy like 10 Titans and all this stuff. No kidding, for his corpse. Yes, someone was that mad. So, the fact that that can't happen in WoW, the fact that WoW is very static, like, repair bills are static. Most of your purchase costs are static. You don't have to constantly be buying things. You also have daily quests, which give the same amount every time. The game itself is not really designed around the idea of having a dynamic economy, and indeed is actually very much subject to mudflation as a direct result of this. Mudflation, the idea that the longer that a game runs, the more expensive items that can be sold will become, because the players in-game on average will have more money. Now, the main argument against gold selling from an economic perspective in WoW that I see is that it accelerates mudflation. You put more money into the economy where the money is it's infinite, it's not finite, it's not limited by anything. You could potentially have as much money in the economy as you wanted, but the more money you have in the economy, the less that it's worth. You know, it's standard inflation, which is odd considering that the WoW economy doesn't really represent the real world economy in any way. Inflation, however, is a big deal, because money can easily be injected into the economy. It can be created from effectively nowhere, and that's a problem. You don't have this finite amount in the system at any given time. It's like saying that, you know, it's kind of like the laws of entropy. It's like, and money cannot be created or destroyed, simply changed from one form to another. And indeed, change from one hand to another is the way that the economy works. If you put more money into it that wasn't there before, you get inflation. Now, this causes big problems to some degree for new players. Particularly, you notice if you're a new player and you want to buy something off the AH as you leveled up, yeah, good luck, because stuff that was once 20 silver is now 200 gold. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but you get the idea. However, because a lot of things are actually not sold by players, one could argue that mudflation really doesn't apply there. Say mounts. Mounts cost exactly the same as they always did. They're actually less now. All of the other services, like Dual Spec, it's going to be 1,000 gold, probably going to be 1,000 gold at the end of time. Indeed, they might reduce the cost at some point. They'll never put the cost up. That's never happened, at least as far as I'm aware. So one could perhaps argue that for the purposes of buying the essentials, buying gold is not such a bad thing. After all, it's your character, right? You should be able to do what you want with it. It's an interesting discussion. I can see the pros and cons. Personally, when it comes to WoW, I'm dead against it. Particularly because, I don't know, it's difficult to determine whether or not I'd be more for it if Blizzard officially endorsed it and created their own service. It is possible that I'd be more for it, because right now if you buy gold, you're basically supporting people that hack other people's accounts, deface websites, insert keyloggers, and are generally malicious cyber criminals. Now, I cannot reconcile that in my mind for any stretch of the imagination, and yes, I've been tempted to buy gold in WoW before, but I haven't done it. I've said no, I will earn it the old-fashioned way, I'll earn it the honest way, because that is the way that I should do it, that's morally right. However, I don't feel that way in EVE. Indeed, I bought this box and it said I could sell these things in-game. Like, great, I can get a battle cruiser now, which I couldn't previously afford, which saves me a lot of farming for the money in order to get one, so I can spend my time more wisely. It's interesting. It's a tricky discussion. So, by all means, send in your experiences, perhaps if you've bought gold before in the past. Again, you can send it anonymously. Just pick up a new email address or something from Gmail, send it over there. You don't have to mention your name. Alternatively, if you have a view on virtual currency selling, then by all means, send it my way, themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. I'll be right back after this break when we'll be interviewing Pixelsmith about his WoW journey around Europe. meeting his guildies and talking about WoW as a social experience and a way to reach out to other people. In the meantime, I'm going to be playing some music for you, and you shall enjoy it, because if you do not, well, you just suck. Seriously? I'm going to play some Ed Guy for you. The name of this track is Navigator. I'll be right back after this. Enjoy.